Hey, I'm Beth. I help people write heartfelt and funny wedding speeches. I'm going to show you how to write the best father of the bride speech you possibly can. This guide's going to cover what to put in your speech, how to arrange it in your speech, and how to deliver your speech on the day. You know what your secret weapon is? This is your secret weapon. Your phone. What I always suggest people do, and I do this myself with big projects, is you create a note in your phone, and it's just called memories, because if you sit down to a blank page, it's really hard to go, what was the most important thing that happened? Let me think of everything right now. That's a lot of pressure. But if while you're going about your everyday life for the next couple of weeks, things will pop into your head, little memories, moments, stories, anecdotes, personality traits, write them down. And then that way, when you sit down to start putting your speech together, you're not starting with a blank page. You've got lots and lots of material to start with. So then it becomes a process of organizing all of those wonderful moments rather than sitting there just trying to remember them. Put it in that note. You're going to be glad you did, because you're just going to feel like you've got this embarrassment of riches when you start structuring your speech. How do you structure all those wonderful stories so that it has a great flow and there's a natural beginning, middle, and end to it? Well, I like to divide speeches up into 6 parts. Part 1 is your introduction. It's you introducing yourself to the audience. A lot of people will go up there and just do a simple, if you haven't met me yet, my name is Bill and I'm the father of the bride, and that's fine. But you can make it a little bit more interesting. It's an opportunity to add a little something. If you were really upset as you walked your daughter down the aisle, you can say, I assume everyone recognizes me. I'm the guy that was blubbering down the aisle a couple hours ago. I just worked on a speech where the wedding was on a Thursday because that was the day the couple could get the venue. And we had the father of the bride start with, welcome to your first Thursday wedding. Ease into it. And you don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Part 2, that's thanks and acknowledgments. In that second part, you want to thank your guests for coming. I'd like to thank everyone for sharing this incredible weekend with us. Thank everyone all at once. And then if there's any guests who've come a particularly long way that should be singled out or would appreciate being singled out, thank them for making that extra effort. Thank anyone who's gone above and beyond in helping that day and that weekend come together. And most importantly, thank your wife. If you're still together and if you'd like to remain so, don't forget to thank your wife. Thank Mom. Thank her for being such a huge part of raising your wonderful daughter, and thank her for putting up with you for however many years she's been putting up with you. It's a great moment to just publicly recognize not just the work she's done for that day, but who she is and what she does and what she brings to your life and to your family. And also, because if you don't thank your wife, it's a long, quiet car ride home. It's never good when you remember to thank the wedding planner, but you don't really say anything about your wife. Don't be that guy, Dad, don't. So that's the thanks part of that second section. The acknowledgement, that's usually for absent friends and family. If there's grandparents or anyone that really was meaningful to the couple or to you or your partner who isn't there that day, that's a place where you can mention it, because that tends to be something that's a little bit sadder. You want to get that out of the way in that second part, because that's kind of the beginning of your speech. It's the business section of the speech, and then you don't have to deal with it later on. And whenever you're mentioning someone that's no longer with us, yeah, that's a sad thing, but there's always a way to balance everything with humor. So, for instance, Grandma would be so proud of you. I'm thinking about my own family. Grandma would be so proud of you if she were here today. She would just never stop saying how beautiful you looked and how happy she was that you found someone to love you. And then she'd never stop telling me that I hadn't gotten enough food for the luncheon, and what am I trying to do? Am I trying to starve all these nice people to death? What is it that you could add that is true and warm and funny and really gives us a sense of who this person was, so that you don't end on the loss, you end on the happy part of their memory? Section 3, your daughter and why she's wonderful. And a great way to talk about her is to think about it in chronological order. So if you're thinking about it in chronological order, that doesn't mean that you have to mention something from every single year she's been alive, but that generally means a good place to start is, what did you think when you first found out you were going to be a dad? What do you remember from that conversation, or the day she was born, or driving her home from the hospital? Are there any big memories or family stories that come up around that? And then as you talk about her, as she gets older, something that really makes these speeches magical is to connect the woman she is today with the little girl she was. So as you're thinking about stories, maybe one from her childhood, one when she was a teenager, one sort of older, what is that through line? Has she always loved animals? Has she always loved giving you a good argument? Is she stubborn? What is that? Because if you can show us as the audience that she's the exact same person she's always been, that really makes a wonderful speech. And then in the next section, we talk about the groom and why he's wonderful, and hopefully you think he's wonderful. But the reason that I always suggest doing it that way is because it just gives things this really natural flow. If you talk about your daughter first, we see her grow up. You've told us how wonderful you think she is, and that gives us a really natural transition to she's wonderful, and obviously as a dad, I wanted her to find someone that was equally wonderful. And you don't have to use those exact words, but that's the spirit of that transition. And look, she has. She found Dave. Dave from the first time I met you. And there you are. You're nice and smoothly talking about the new partner. I find that that's also a really great place to then welcome him to the family. And because you're now talking about what a wonderful guy he is, now you've got this natural transition into talking about his parents, because you're thanking them for making this wonderful guy. See, if you think ahead just a little bit, it all starts to hang together and flow together. In section 5, you talk about the couple as a unit. Why are they such a great match? What do they do for one another? What do they bring to one another's lives? And how do you think that's going to serve them really well in the future? And the last part is the toast. And don't forget to make it an actual toast. Literally ask people, would you all please raise your glasses to this beautiful couple? I know I speak for everyone here when I wish you a lifetime of health, happiness, and laughter. To the bride and groom. Now let me share a few quick delivery tips. Print out your speech. Please don't read your speech off your phone. It doesn't look the same. Print it out and use a really big font. 16, 18, something that where you don't have to, I'm of that age, something where you don't necessarily have to have your glasses on. Also, make sure when you print it out, have every thought be its own paragraph so that there's lots of white space on your page. Because it's okay if you read your speech, so you're going to look down and you'll be reading it, but you want to be able to look up and make eye contact. When you're talking to your daughter, you want to be able to look at her. When you're talking to her fiancé, you want to be able to look directly at them. You also want to be able to look back down and immediately find your place. And if you've got nice big font and lots of white space on your page, then that's really going to help you. Another thing, sounds obvious, you will thank me. Number your pages. If one page gets out of order, if they're numbered, it's not an issue. If they're not numbered, then you're standing there going, hold on, give me a second, hold on. Please hold, 1 second, hold on. Because you got to read to know which page is in the right order. Finally, this sinks speeches. This absolutely kills speeches, and it doesn't have to. Make sure people can hear you. A lot of people get married and it's a barn, or you're outdoors, or it's some sort of venue that's absolutely beautiful, but it's not necessarily known for its acoustics. If you want people to enjoy your speech and to laugh at your speech, they have to hear your speech, especially for comedy. Comedy is a setup and a punchline, and if you don't hear both of those things clearly, it doesn't work. And if any of this is overwhelming you, it's okay. I do one-on-one stuff. You can work with me. Just click that or find me at authenticallyfunnyspeeches.com. To watch one of my favorite Father of the Bride speeches, just click right here.